Why abhor violence? So I understand that so many people like to fight and think it's cool and think it's wonderful. But let's think about it like this. You may live in a hostile world, or you may not. And if you don't live in a hostile world, thank goodness. I'm glad that you haven't really had to struggle. I'm glad that you really haven't had to fight. It's not particularly fun, even though people talk about it. You know, here's the thing about fighting, right? It's great to be able to defend yourself. You know, if for some reason some crazy stuff happens, you might be able to defend yourself, defend your friends, defend your family. That's cool. But self-defense is totally different than deciding that today is the day where I'm going to attack somebody or I'm going to cost somebody. And maybe that's fine in terms of military siege, something that unfortunately has to be done because there are people that want to kill you. And so you really don't have a choice at that point, okay? It's an ought to. Then you ought to defend yourself. You take out the enemy, unfortunately. You know, because the best thing would be to resolve these things peacefully, to resolve these things in a kind sort of way. And that's definitely possible. I mean, there are definitely ways of building roads and making sure that people have water and making sure that people have food so that there's really no reason for them to engage in conflict. But let's get back to, the thing at hand. Well, violence is awful because it's very disruptive. Especially, you take a young person, you put them in a very hostile, violent situation. All of a sudden, this becomes a norm. Their brain changes. It actually changes. It prepares them for violence at any time. So the slightest slight could be perceived as a potential threat. And then all of a sudden, you're like, why is that person gone off? Why is this person being so aggressive? Well, the thing is their world was aggressive. And so all of a sudden, they're just reacting to this kind of brain shape that they've been given because of lots and lots of adrenaline. So here are other issues about this particular sort of world and violence. It potentially could shorten your life by 15 to 20 years if you even make it to 18. If you even make it to 18. And so here's the other thing. You're one punch away from knocking someone's eye out. You're one punch away from making people never being able to walk again. You're one punch away from killing somebody. Okay? And maybe you think that's cool. Maybe you don't. But the thing is that when it's your blood and your teeth and your family and all this shit, all of a sudden you're like, wow, this isn't so fucking cool. Why do I have post-traumatic stress disorder? Why, are these things happening these particular ways? Well, it's because violence wasn't cool to begin with. Okay? It never was cool. It's still not cool. You might think it's cool, but let me tell you, seeing your mother's jaw broken, seeing her not being able to eat for weeks, it's not fucking cool. I hate to tell you. So, it's fine. If you want to wrestle, if you want to do these sorts of things that are non-harmful, that's awesome. Especially if you like fighting. If that's your thing, go fight people who like to fight. Go fight people who train every fucking day. Because then you're actually dealing with somebody that it makes sense to fight with. This person wants to fight as much as you, so go get it. Go do it. But in terms of the general populace, the only reason that you should be violent is to defend your grandma, defend your mom, defend your brothers, defend your children, defend your sisters, have your sisters defend you, whatever it is. But the thing is that we should not be creating conditions that allow us to take on our most animalistic instincts, these parts of us that absolutely exist in so many people, and yet they will deny them over and over and over again. Once you accept the monster, once you accept these things about yourself, you can choose peace. You can constantly and actively avoid problems, choose peace, help people with their problems to help create a cascade of peace. And that's how you get it done. You solve these problems, you help other people like improve their life, you help other families, and then all of a sudden your neighborhood is good. Your neighborhood is wonderful. And it was because, hey, you know what? We're all struggling with something, and that's all right. Try to find a good way to deal with that struggle. Try to help other people. You'll make a difference.